Okay.
Oh, good to see you.
It's a good day to be a Bundy supporter, guys.
It's well, the big news, it's over with down here.
Yep, it's
Dismissed
over.
with prejudice. We'll wait till some people get on here. But so far, I haven't seen none of the Bundys out. The Cliven Bundy is going to be released today. It probably within a few hours, hopefully sooner. He should have walked out of there right now.
Yep,
But the case is dismissed with prejudice over the board. The indictment against Cliven Bundy, Ammon Bundy, Ryan Bundy, and Ryan Payne has been dismissed. There is no more indictment against them.
She actually granted Ryan Payne's motion for dismissal based on the gross misconduct and determined that they would not be able to be retried. There's no way they could guarantee the prosecution would not repeat any of the things they've done. And now that the prosecution, the biggest thing is that the prosecution now knows the defense's strategy, and that was one of her main grounds for saying that they could not be retried because the prosecution knows far too much about what the defense has planned, and there is no way at this point they could get a fair trial and move forward.
She went over the whole, what's that?
What about the others?
They're discussing that right now.
They're discussing that right now, so we don't know if Jason Woods, Joe O'Shaughnessy, Mel Bundy, and Dave Bundy are going to have a trial coming up themselves yet in February. That is to be determined in the next few minutes or so. Hopefully, we'll have you that answer in an hour or two.
Going to decide that?
That's going to be decided today. At this point, there's no way these men, any of them, can get a fair trial. The prosecution cannot even try to try those guys for the first time. Not with the misconduct of these prosecutions. That's why they have tried to bring in a new prosecutor. They've already got Elizabeth White, a new prosecutor that's brought in that's going to be on this case if it does come forward because of the misconduct of Steve Myrie and Daniel Sheesh and the others here, and Nadia Ahmed.
Some of the attorneys said that there's pretty much no way they could get an untainted jury pool at this point. Everybody has heard the case. Everybody understands what's happened at this point. And to think that they're going to get any jury that's going to convict these individuals now that the truth has come out is absolutely insane. They would not be able to get a conviction. Now, they did gain 2 convictions in the first one wrongfully for Todd Engel and Greg Burleson, but that's because everything that came out in this case did not come out in the first case. They said that they could not use self-defense as a means to defend themselves. So the fact that there were snipers, there was surveillance, there was the Joint Terrorist Task Force out there, all of these things would have helped people like Todd and Greg who went because they truly believed people were being attacked. Well, all of them, even the ones who pled guilty, but the ones who were convicted because they did not get a fair trial before the jury to show the jury that there were snipers pointed, there was a military operation going on against American citizens on U.S. soil. Study your Constitution. That's not constitutional. We're not supposed to have a standing army and our own military being used against us. That's exactly what this operation was in 2014.
How about a kill list? How about the kill list? Did that come up?
She brought up the Dan Love misconduct, the Wooten email, and she said all of it put together would equal that they would not be able to get a fair trial at this point.
What did the judge say?
The judge said today, she brought up the snipers and things. I lost my train of thought there for a second. But she brought up all these things, the Wooten letters and them things. One thing the judge did say about Jerry DeLoomis in his trial, that he had become the same monster that he'd accused his government of being.
She said to him.
Today we found out the opposite of that. The government became that same monster that they had accused the Bundys of being, and all these supporters that came back in 2014. They waited two years to build up a conspiracy against them. This was a conspiracy built up by these prosecution, this government.
They charged these individuals with the conspiracy to impede federal officers, and they said they never had snipers pointed at U.S. citizens, that they were out there literally just doing a cattle roundup, and all these protesters showed up, and oh my gosh, Eric Parker is up on the bridge with a sniper, and what are we going to do about this? And what we learned is that there was actually an entire conspiracy already, including with Dan Love and his kill book and his suicide brag book. Dr. read that he had driven to suicide previously, that this was literally a conspiracy against the Bundys. They intentionally did the roundup out in the open. They didn't wait till all the cattle were up at water troughs and hidden away. Dan Love specifically said in the documents that he wanted this out in the open, that he wanted Cliven Bundy to know who was boss. So he was antagonizing his agents into a battle, hoping that they would have a bloodbath. And because so many amazing Americans showed up and stood principally, and many of them used their First Amendment backed up with their Second Amendment, which is the purpose of the Second Amendment. It's not for hunting, it's to protect yourself against tyrants like what we've seen in this courtroom. That's exactly what happened in Bunkerville, is that they used their First and Second Amendment to keep them alive.
And the judge said today again, too, that this was a violation of the Constitution. She admitted that today in the court. That the prosecutors violated these men's constitutional rights.
That's epic. So John Lamb, Kelly Ward, you guys have been following this case for the last 4 years at Oregon trials and here today. What's your emotion, and how do you find this ending in such an epic fashion?
Well, I cried a while ago in the courtroom. We was all in tears. Everybody was crying. Yeah. We had a courtroom jam-packed. We couldn't get nobody in. There was another 100+ people out in the lobby that could not get in.
A lot of cheers, a lot of crying. But I've only been following the case for 2 years, just to
What do you guys expect? How's this going to change America after today?
You know, it's a big move. It gives America a chance to have more. They'll realize there is a chance in these court systems if we fight hard, if we have support. We cannot be silenced. People like, there's a man named Schaefer Cox right now sitting in Illinois. No support. He's over there by himself. He's a family man. He was a politician from Alaska, and he's sitting in Illinois in a federal prison for this same type of case.
Exact same thing.
But people need to stand up and say, we've had enough of this. We want justice. We don't want misjustice.
We want political prisoners set free. We have political prisoners all across this country. Clive Bundy and the rest of these defendants have been political prisoners for 2 years denied bail for again, based on an indictment that was completely false, full of lies, where the prosecution made fun of the defense, saying Clive Bundy lied to his supporters and said snipers were pointed at him, and therefore people came based on these false information. And now we found out that the people actually came because that was very true. There were snipers pointed at people. There was surveillance happening. People were going to die. So, you know, people need to start supporting other people, other political prisoners out there, like Jeff Winehouse and Schaefer Cox and Ed and Elena Brown.
This is a step away from another Waco.
It does. Yeah. Cliven gets to go home today. Anybody of you guys who are just joining us today, right now, Cliven gets to go home. All charges have been dismissed with prejudice. This case is over with. This indictment against these men have been dropped today.
And one thing to end this with, Lavoy Finicum would not be dead today if they had not been isolated on Highway 395, alone, completely surrounded, with guns firing at them when they were driving down the road. He would be alive today if they tried to do that to him at a situation like in 2014, because there would have been people showing up, eyewitnesses, something more than just a silly black and white drone that we can hardly see flying overhead. He would be alive today if they had not broken all of their own laws, set up a kill stop at the end of that highway and open fire on them.
So what you're saying is that these men are vindicated today, but also Lavoy Finicum is vindicated today?
Yes.
Well, they fought tooth and nail for everything they got today. Nothing was just handed to them. And had they not had a legal team and supporters out here and cameras rolling constantly, they would have been run over in this courtroom just like the first two trials went down.
What they proved today,
if Lavoy Finicum had survived to be in court today, he would also be vindicated.
Yes. Well, in Oregon, he would have gone to trial with the other 6 or 7 in Oregon, and he would have been found not guilty as well. So he would be at home with his family instead of them mourning his loss.
Well, he also was at the Bunkerville standoff.
He was there
as well.
So we didn't see his name on that indictment, but he was there in the wash that same day. Lavoy Finicum was. So if he was indicted, I believe that he'd been also on this same case.
John, do you think it's going to stop their land grabs or slow them down?
No, it's slow them down.
It's we the people. We need to stand up and say we've had enough. Our politicians need to get behind this and stop this kind of tyranny and this kind of stuff.
And Judge Navarro even said, and I quote, "The public has a right to expect fair process." She also went on to say, and I quote, "There was a flagrant misconduct in this case, including what happened with Dan Love." And I quote her saying that they believed that in this case, and she was quoting Chapman, she said the government made several misrepresentations to this court. Number 1, regarding the snipers. Number 2, the undisclosed documents and the shenanigans they did with the FBI. She mentioned the thumb drive in the vehicle as well. She said number 3, the government made several misrepresentations regarding whether or not they were out there at the Bundy Ranch in 2014 for training or being deployed. She also went on to say, and I quote, "The prosecution was negligence and reckless disregard. This is a quote. They had reckless disregard for the constitutional duty that they had. Quote, before, during, and after the operation, the FBI had 4 years to prepare, 2 years to present to the court the required documentation, and present it in a fair, responsible, and honest way, which was not done. Their provocation, she said, quote, the prosecution denied these people their due process, their constitutional rights, and I'm quoting her, under the Brady violations.
Yes. So it's not over for a long ways. We've still got a lot of fighting to do. We've got to get our politicians behind us. We've got to get people to change this.
It's a big day.
Clive Bundy stand with the federal government. People need to understand the difference between state-owned land and federally owned land. These tyrants that are running these federal courtrooms right now, they are not accountable to the people. We didn't elect them. If a judge violates due process.
The fire department here congratulating us today. Driving by, we got some good people here on Las Vegas Fire Department that have been supporting us big time, and we appreciate their support.
They've been waiting to hear this verdict, and they said to us that they would come out en masse and let us know when they heard the positive.
Yep. So if people could study the difference between what we left back in England with the king and why states are supposed to be sovereign and how important the elected officials are for the people. If we can't elect them in, then we also can't recall them out. And that has been Clive Bundy's stance for this entire process, is the federal government cannot own land within the states. This is a state issue. This is Nevada's land. This is not the federal government's land or Washington, D.C.'s land. And when Washington, D.C. or the federal government or the BLM regulates these lands, they're not accountable to the people, which is why it needs to go back to state ownership.
One more time, I see new people still joining all the time. This case has been dismissed with prejudice. The case is over. The indictment against Clive Bundy, Ammon Bundy, Ryan Bundy, and Ryan Payne is done. We're waiting right now, hopefully to get an answer within the next few minutes on whether there's going to be a case for Joe O'Shaughnessy, Jason Woods, Dave Bundy, and Mel Bundy. We're praying that the judge makes the right decision and this case against them is done. Then we can concentrate on getting these guys out of jail and these cases overturned that are sitting there right now.
What the public needs to do, what's really important, this is something I didn't know during the 35 years I was in the Army. I didn't understand my Constitution until I started being educated what it really meant when I took my oath. My oath never expired even when I retired. It's really important what they're trying to share with you, the land grant. People need to go and educate. They don't need to listen to us. They need to go and study about Agenda 21, Agenda 30, and Agenda 50. Agenda 30 and Agenda 50 is what the plans for this dictatorship tyranny under the United Nations and under the so-called shadow government are what their plans for us. And they have to get rid of the ranchers and the farmers. They have to put everything under Monsanto, that corporation. And this is where it's going. And we can't let it happen.
They've done that in Clark County.
Yeah.
Clive Bundy is the last rancher in Clark County. There was 53 ranchers here in Clark County just a few years ago. There's only one left, and that's Clive Bundy, and he's been sitting in prison for the last 2 years. We had 18 other defendants in prison for almost 2 years here also that was held wrongfully. They should have never been in there.
Their families were threatened if they didn't take plea deals. Some of them had their wives in handcuffs, and when they were detained, one of the individuals, his wife was handcuffed, and they told him if he pled guilty that his wife would not stand any charges. There has been so much coercion in the plea deals that have already occurred. Every one of those should be able to be reopened at this point with all of the information that has come out. And again, Todd Engel and Greg Burleson must have new trials, or the entire indictment needs to be dismissed against them.
Greg Burleson lost his sight because of this. He was put in prison, not given medical treatment, taken off all of his medical medication that he should have been. He's blind to this day, sitting in a federal penitentiary in Pennsylvania. He needs to be let go and go back home.
Clive Bundy has lost the majority of his teeth in here. I mean, the amount of life, when I tell the reporters that justice was not served today, I mean, when the boot is removed from your face, it doesn't mean justice was served. It means that the abuse has, for the time being, stopped. But justice will be served. Jeff Banta here from Oregon.
Stopped in here. He was one of the not guilty guys over there in Portland, Oregon. He's down here to support us. He's all smiles today. He knows this feeling.
It's a good day. It's a good day. So restitution needs to be paid to each of the individuals. I don't necessarily support people just being locked away in a box because they did wrong, but these prosecutors, Dan Love, every one of them needs to pay somehow to these family members, however they deem that restitution can be paid. And at that point, I would say justice has been served. And that doesn't mean federal tax dollars or the tax dollars from the American people in any way going to pay for a lawsuit. The individuals who broke the law and who committed crimes against these people are the ones who need to be held responsible.
They need to go to jail.
Do kind of an ending here is they did take Ryan Payne back into custody today over the Oregon guilty or the pleading there. So his pretrial release has taken him back into custody. He may get back out today or tomorrow, but at this time, Ryan Payne and Joe O'Shaughnessy have a hearing in Portland tomorrow concerning their sentencing on their plea agreements they had taken. So that's another big thing in Portland. Anybody over there, please go over there.
So I got a question related to they were acquitted in Oregon. Now they're acquitted today.
Pretty much, it's a dismissal. It's not as good as acquittal because the jury.
For the average American, they're like
it is
they've been acquitted, right? So, what do you say to? I mean, the American justice system. How much reform does it need? What kind of changes need to take place that you would recommend to the American people? Because it's going to bring this to light now.
The best way we can do is trash it and start all over again, in my opinion. I mean, the FBI, the misconduct of them. They need to be. We need local sheriffs. We need sheriffs in the top. We don't need the FBI.
Jerry DeLee.
The CIA, the BLM, the FBI, the Forest Service, the EPA, every one of them are terrorist organizations that are locking Americans away for things like pawns, like Joe Robertson. So.
The FBI is investigating themselves. Jeff Sessions is investigating himself. This thing just goes around and around. It's a big vicious circle that needs to be restarted from the ground up.
At this point, I would say anybody who's sitting in jail right now has not received due process. So as awful as it sounds to say everybody needs to be set free, everybody needs to be set free, and they need to get new trials. I don't care what they're on trial for.
What do you mean, everybody?
I mean anybody who's in jail to this point even those who committed murder have not received a fair trial. They need due process. They need a jury of their peers. They need the representation of their choice. They need a speedy trial. They need to not be detained if it's not a capital offense. We cannot just keep saying, well, we're happy the Bundys are out. There's so many. There's Omar who's sitting in jail. There's Jeff Winehouse is sitting in jail. There's so many people who are sitting in jail who were completely railroaded like the Hammonds. So I'm just not going to say the Hammonds are innocent, but the man who was accused of murder must be guilty. They all need new trials, and they all need fair representation. And I'm going to say that the prisons in our country need to be torn down. It's a business. That's all it is. It's a business.
They're
it's just a
run.
business.
And one of the things that you have children, okay? She's got children. We all have children. We teach our children the difference of right between wrong. And if you do something wrong and you do something wrong, then you should both be punished equally. When you have the Bureau of Land Management or the Bureau of Treasury, BATF, who I used to work for, when you have them doing something and they end up causing damage and they don't even get their hands slapped, and then the Hammonds see a burn coming towards them, which can take out their property, right? And they do a back burn, and the back burn gets away from them. And but they 100 acres, and they stop it. Why do they go to jail? And then the BLM, who has been destroying indigenous people's property, destroying their cattle, destroying their log cabins.
On video.
Yeah,
on video, burning it.
Burning it. We catch them. They never even get a slap on the hand. And then when the Hammonds do their time, somebody who wants the Hammond ranch says, we got to find another way to lock them up so Susie can't run that ranch by herself. So they send them under a terrorism law of 1997, and they're back in jail again. That's double jeopardy.
2 years after
double
they were
jeopardy.
Uranium one, and make them sign a first uranium one, to where the BLM has first right of refusal to take their land.
That's right, and
if they can't pay their $400,000
fine.
And they can never sell the
$100,000 fine at this point. Dan Love had a kill book, you guys. He led the investigation.
Many of our
leading
names on that
agent
kill book.
with the BLM, being paid. He had a kill book, and the Hammonds are sitting in jail right now for putting out a fire that the BLM originally started.
With no help from the federal government.
Tomorrow, we'll have Daniel Siege, we'll have Steve Myrie prosecuting someone else again, and they're still just did all this misconduct. They need to be investigated. They need to be removed from this office. This kind of thing, I guarantee you, there's case after case. I've been visiting the prison out here. There's 1,200 men out there sitting in prison that haven't had a trial yet. That are waiting there without bond. 1,200 men out there.
That's a lot of people.
This isn't the first time that Myrie has done Brady violations. He should have been in jail from the first time.
And one of the things a lot of people don't know.
He'll end up retiring and living on his pension, because that's become the American way. Because we, the people, have stopped doing our job. We've stopped being the fourth branch of government. We've stopped holding our elected officials accountable, because we have cell phones and we have cars and we have busy lives. And we are responsible for what is going on in these courtrooms. Hands down. They only do what they're allowed to do.
What do you think is the significance of the Attorney General's interference with the Tier 2 folks and the plea deal and this kind of ripple effect that led till today?
Violation.
Did that have any impact?
That again?
The Attorney General basically asking or getting the district attorneys to offer a plea deal to the Tier 2 group, and this created this ripple. Would you agree?
Offering a plea deal, saying, we see that you've been abused, so we're going to give you the opportunity to plead guilty to a crime you did not commit, while my agents and my prosecutors are walking free on taxpayer dollars, and your families have been suffering for 2 years. No, that's not good enough. Every one of these people need to be acquitted. The Hammonds need to be set free, and they all need to be paid restitution for 2 years sitting in terrorist camps, is what I call them, on U.S. soil.
And when you turn around and you look at the fact with the land grant, as Kelly Stewart has been sharing, as John Lamb has been doing on YouTube, as we've been doing on Revolution Radio, okay, we have been presenting, there is follow the money. If you look at Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, and you look at her dealings as a government employee with Russia, who now Uranium One. And we were telling people about Uranium One even before the Hammonds went to jail, because there are special resources, there's minerals under the Bundy Ranch, the Hammond Ranch, the Finnegan Ranch, and other ranchers and farmers. And the thing is when we got people like Bill Gates doing deals for, he's doing deals, and he needs that uranium, he needs the plutonium, he needs it. Bill Gates, Hillary Clinton, she was in bed with Obama, and he and Valerie Garrett of the White House knew what was going on. He's the one that put the Governor Pete Brown as governor of Oregon, and the governor of Oregon said to Obama and Valerie Garrett at the White House, and we have the emails, the traffic between them, we've got the private text messaging and traffic, saying we have to stop that virus before LaVoy Finnegan and the Bundys get over to John Day and teach a class in the Constitution and meet with the constitutional sheriff, which was Sheriff Palmer. We have to stop them before they get there, because we can't let this virus spread. Hillary Clinton was in on it. Bill Gates was in on it. Valerie Garrett, the White House with Obama, was in on it. Uranium One was in on it. They want our land for our resources. And the United Nations is at the head of this. They want to take everybody's land and push us into the cities. No more people can live in the countryside.
People need to understand some of the things I've been learning about the situation with the Hammonds. A lot of us were confused when they were there at the refuge. And I want people who have been harsh on them to give them a second chance and maybe look into it again, because some of the things they were uncovering there is that the mineral rights were actually being sold out from the private property owners' land there in Harney County. And so when Ammon and the others said, we're not here until something happens, we're just here to work, we're here to get this land turned back over to the people, and they were trying to expose these crimes, and that's why the ambush happened on 395. It didn't happen because we had some scary domestic terrorists occupying an empty building 30 miles outside of town. It happened because of the truth that was being spread and the truth that was being uncovered as to what the BLM had been doing, who they were in bed with, why they were selling people's mineral rights. Do you own a home? Do you want somebody to show up one day from another country and say, I own your mineral rights?
By right of eminent domain. We're going to take your house by right of eminent domain.
When those things are happening and the American people learn of them, they should do those things like Ammon Bundy and the Bundy family has been willing to do. It's called standing up for your neighbor. It's called being an American. It's called defending people's rights. It's called loving your neighbor. This isn't complicated. They were terrorists. If everybody did that, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in today. They wouldn't get away with the things that they're getting away with.
And what Kelly and John Lamb have been doing, boots on the ground, day in and day out, leaving their spouses and leaving their homes and their normal life they used to have for coming here to stand for the Constitution. One of the things that happened just a few days before LaVoy was assassinated, just a few days before is when I met him. I went to the refuge there to drop off supplies. We drove hours to get there. And when we took the constitutional class taught by Ryan Payne, Ryan Bundy, and Lavoie, we told them our own story. My husband has a gold mine that's been in his family since the 1850s, and we now have to pay $145 a year to the BLM to have our own 22 acres, because sometime in the 30s or 40s, they came in and they said, now we're going to make you start paying for your own 22 acres. Now, my father-in-law missed it by 1 day. Filing every August, he missed it by 1 day. They turned around and took the old number that was over 100 years old, assigned a new number in California to our gold mine. It's a hard rock mine, and they signed a new number and said, now you don't own anything on top of that 22 acres. You just have to get what you can underneath. That is highway robbery. That was my husband's father's great-great-grandfather's gold mine since the 1850s, and now we have to pay the BLM for our own 22 acres. That's our property, and that's wrong. And they can come along. If you miss the filing by 1 day every August, it's gone. You lose your property rights, you lose everything.
I'm going to bring someone in here. Here's Scott for a minute. Okay. I'm going to bring Scott here. He's a local. He lives up here in Las Vegas, just up by Henderson.
Henderson, yeah, not too far from here.
He didn't get in the courtroom today.
I did.
Well, you got in there. I didn't see you. The courtroom was so packed.
Yeah.
He said this morning, he's been telling me this all summer.
Well, I told this to Carol probably a month or so ago. I'm cutting the whiskers off when the last man comes out, so...
They go off today. Cliven's coming out today.
And he's going to be walking out the door here in a few minutes. And of course, my wife, everybody hates all this, but I said, I told her, I said, I don't want to look like ZZ Top or one of those guys. So, anyway.
So what was your immediate response when Judge Navarro made her decision?
Well, we were all, of course, hoping that this was what was going to happen. And really, based on the evidence, it should have happened. So I was kind of relieved and at the same time going, yeah, this is what needs to be. This is a big deal. And like Cliven, he wasn't coming out until he was a free man and he wouldn't leave anybody behind. So, of course, this affects the guys that were convicted ahead of this because they didn't have the evidence.
Absolutely.
They've got to cut them all loose. This is a big deal. This is a big day. It really is. For all of
Get down here if you can, so you can be here when Clive Bundy's out. Let's have a big crowd, even if they sneak him out the back door.
Oh, he's coming right out that front door.
Let's still make sure there's a lot of people down here to support him. That man has stood. He is not just the last rancher standing. He's the last patriot standing, unwilling to give over his rights to the federal government. And he's taught us all how to stand, just like Lavoie Finicum did. There are some things more important than your life, and freedom to many people is one of them.
Cliven Bundy would not negotiate with pretrial release or nobody. He said when he leaves, he's leaving a free man, and that's what he did. He stood his ground till the very end. It does matter how you stand.
Was it Mel that said,
I'm not
doing this so my kids won't have to.
This is a great day for the entire country.
It did. Because we will keep you some updates here off and on throughout the rest of the day until Cliven gets out. We've got, I'm going to guess, a couple hundred people here. We had the courtroom packed out again. We couldn't get everybody in. You didn't even get in yourself. There's people from all over. 100 plus people.
Couldn't get in.
You were, yeah.
John, can you repeat what's going on again today?
So again, what's going on for people that are just joining us, this case here just got dismissed for the U.S. government versus the Bundys with prejudice. I mean, that means it's over with. We don't have to go back to trial for Cliven Bundy, Ammon Bundy, Ryan Bundy, and Ryan Payne. The case has totally been dismissed with prejudice. We're still waiting to hear from the court. There's some sealed hearings right now, whether or not Joe O'Shaughnessy, Jason Woods, Mel Bundy, and Dave Bundy are going to have a trial coming up in February. We're praying that's not the case. The judge made it very, very, very clear today that these men could not get a fair trial. There's no way. So she dismissed the case. We expect, or at least I do, expect it to be dismissed against them too. There's no way to continue this case. This case should be over with for all these men, and we need to look into the guys that are locked up, like Jerry DeLumas, Greg Burleson, Todd Engel that's sitting out here in Pahrump right now waiting on sentencing. He needs to be released immediately. These guys need to be released.
Absolutely.
Ken's been great down here. He's been here through all these last 3 trials. He's been a big support. He was at the Bundy Ranch. He was also in Burns, Oregon. Come all the way from Oregon. He almost missed today. He was going to fly in tomorrow, and he changed his mind, and he flew in yesterday instead. And aren't you glad you made it?
Absolutely.
You'll get to see Cliven come out here today.
Right. I'm going to ask all of you again. John's got his whole family here, 11 children, plus his wife. He drove a bus down and don't get very good gas mileage because I rode in last night. Now, I filled him up with gas last night, and I'd like to ask the rest of you to send him some money, even Kelly Stewart here, because these people have been out here. They sacrificed a lot, and he did the greatest honors to his family today by being able to bring them here. But if you could send a few dollars to help him out, we'd really appreciate it. I would appreciate it. He won't ask you, but I will. And thank you, and all of you have a hopefully a happy New Year.
Where can people help John Lamb? Where
can they help you at, John?
I don't even remember the PayPal right offhand, but I've got a PayPal on my account somewhere there. Facebook page.
John
they
Lamb.
find out, yep. It's like PayPal me, JL Lamb. I'm not even sure.
But I'll put his link on my live feed and all the information so that we can get a wider
Lamb
audience.
has been covering.
We appreciate everybody just come out here. We've got a big group of people all the way around us here. We're waiting down here. It's sprinkling a little bit today, so it's a little cooler, but it actually feels good to me.
Yeah.
It's better than the snow in Montana. We left a couple feet of snow and 20 below. So we will keep you updated throughout all day today. Until Cliven comes out, we will have you some live updates. We've got tons of people from everywhere. You got some Christmas cards you brought along, didn't you? Yeah. So I don't know if everybody can see these cards. I'll try to see here. If you can see this. There we go.
The Hammond Rally.
And you made these up yourself?
Yes.
Yes. So you've got a bunch of Christmas cards down here like these from the Hammond Rally.
Christmas blessing was the 20th and today.
Yeah.
So,
oh wow. Yeah.
So I changed my format for the Christmas cards, and that was it.
This was a great day for freedom, all of you. Remember, if we don't stand up for our freedom, we won't have it long, and we're losing it quick. And thank all of you for helping John and Kelly and anybody. We got other people here that's been down here all the time. They need money. I try to help all of them with a few dollars, but I run out pretty quick because I'm on Social Security. So
I'll tell you a few people.
Give him some money now.
If I can,
I just filled up his tank last.
A few people that are down here from all over. I'll try to mention some of the people I've just talked to this morning. We've got people all the way from Virginia. We've got people from California, Michigan, even Canada, Arkansas, Washington State, Oregon, Florida. That's right. A few people from Florida here. Montana, Wyoming. I know there's some people here from Wyoming and Utah, Arizona. I know I missed New Mexico. I know there's in Colorado. Them are just a few of the states I can think of right offhand. Someone else told me they was from even Nebraska. So we've got a lot of people from all over the country down here. A couple hundred plus people. It's pretty awesome. I'll walk around a minute and show you some of these, some of the people here that's here. But then we'll sign off and we will be back on as soon as Cliven Bundy gets released here today and walks out of here. I haven't seen Ammon or Ryan Bundy out here just yet. They're probably still up in court waiting on some more decisions here from the judge. And like again, we said, we're hoping that the case against Joe O'Shaughnessy, Jason Woods, Mel and Dave Bundy get dismissed today also, with prejudice also, and that indictment's gone, and then we can start working on getting these other guys out. Thanks again for everybody who has supported all along this long last 2 years. It's been tough, from showing up to writing letters. Everything everybody has done has been very, very awesome. It's been
to sharing on Facebook.
Sharing on Facebook, all this message. We couldn't have done it without everybody. And everybody to come here from so far, the sacrifice everybody has made has been awesome. I've even got one of my sons here. I don't know if I can get this camera. He's down here. He's wanting to get on camera too this morning. Come over here. You can get on there too. Here's another one. There you can. So we got. I'll have to lift him up. The camera's too high. There he is. But we will sign off here in just a moment. I'll just turn the cameras around and kind of show you everybody down here, and then we will sign off here shortly, and then we will be. I see a couple of messages here. that we've got coming in here. So Ryan Payne just sent a message. He's went into custody about now, but he sent a message on here that said thank you to everyone that's out here and supported. He was glad, but Ryan Payne had to go back into custody today for Oregon, and he has a sentencing hearing, status hearing with him and Joe O'Shaughnessy tomorrow. They're in Portland, Oregon. And we've even got Neil Wampler down here again. He doesn't miss it at all. But from Jeff Banta to Neil and several of you, Shauna Cox is here. Come on over here for a minute. Say hi to everybody. What do you feel like today?
Hi, terrific, wonderful. Not many people have a chance to have this fantastic victory like this, you know. And I have to say, we owe it all to the Bundy family. They're the ones who had a great courage, intrepid courage to stand through all this and bring it to this wonderful day. I'm rather speechless, which is very unusual for me, but I'm rather speechless about all this. It's mind-boggling, it's giddy here.
About the Constitution.
This is from the Bundy Ranch.
We have, they tried to make an example out of this good family and these people, and we made an example out of them.
I want Jamie to come over here too. Jamie has been here in Nevada. He actually spent time at my place in Montana and helped me out for quite a while. He went helping Joe Robertson. He stayed at the memorial site of Lavoie for quite some time. A couple months.
You were at Bundy? Washington, I was Kylie.
Yes.
And yeah, we got to keep it going. The Hammonds really need our support at this point.
Yes, exactly.
They're still sitting in prison right now for a backburn that's completely and totally legal and done by so many ranchers in Orange County. So we need to focus on the people that are kind of on the back burner and lost. So yeah, we need to keep going. We can't just stop. But we won. We won this battle, but the war's far from over.
If it wasn't for Jamie, men like him and his fiance and stuff helping with this, we couldn't have done it either. It's people like him and so many others that have come down here to show their support. Anybody that can help him with his ministry and his spreading the word would be awesome too. We cannot do it without these type of people. It can't do it alone. We have to unite. That's what happened in this courtroom today. Is these attorneys and these men united. You're stronger united than you are by yourself. Most people that go to trial get found guilty. It's a 97% conviction rate. It's
a 97% plea.
And also pleading.
Yeah.
So most people in these jails either make a plea or if they go to trial, they get convicted. Just like the 93-year-old Henry Westerner that went to prison. Same way with him. And he's out right now. But this is what happens in these type of buildings.
It's you against all of them. When you go in there, it's the prosecution, the judge, and everybody. There's no way to win.
And they fabricate a case, just like they did here. How does any American feel like they're going to get a fair trial if we proved in this case they was not playing fair? The prosecutors grossly done things against the Bundys here.
Absolutely, and if they don't get you in one court case, they will come after you 2 years later, 4 years later, 20 years later. They're crooked. They're crooked.
You know what?
Yeah, and
they don't like to lose.
That's right.
Oh, they don't like to lose, and they won't lose unless we stand.
I heard you say early in the court hearing this morning, you said something was sitting next to you. You had faith the size of a mustard seed. Mustard seed is very small, of course, but that's all you felt was necessary today. And that harkens back to biblical.
It does. I mean, I'm a man of faith. I've got a family here, 11 children, and my wife that came this time. They don't get to come out that much, but we believe in faith.
Did you see it coming?
I felt it. I've been saying this for the last 2 weeks that this is what I felt that was coming. I could have been wrong, but that was in my spirit what I seen happen. There was no other choice the judge could make. I didn't feel. She had to do what was right. This misconduct could not go. The American people is not going to let it go. they're going to be speaking up, and I mean peacefully. I don't mean I mean I'm a peaceful person. I was raised up non-resistance. You know what that is?
She very much made the point of this being an example to future prosecutors in future cases.
She definitely did. She really scolded these prosecutors. These prosecutors said nothing today at all. They just sat there through the whole hearing, and it was pretty obvious that it was humiliating to them, or whatever the word is. But yes.
If we did the same thing the prosecutors did, they'd been putting handcuffs on us.
What's your first name?
My name is John Lamb. I'm from Bozeman, Montana.
J-O-H-N.
J-O-H-N, yes.
L-A-M.
Yes,
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
In God we trust.
Yes, that's right. Well, we're gonna take our cameras here and turn them around and do some stuff. So you can get yours there. I'll show you everybody that's down here if I can figure out how to turn it around. There we go. So we'll get the group of people that's down here, all the way from Washington.
Yeah, Seattle.
Yeah.
So, John, I'm guessing you or Lorri might be doing a report on public radio.
We are. We will be on there tonight, 7 o'clock.
I'm just Chris.
Yeah, I remember you. Yeah, thanks, Chris, for being here. So I'll be on there tonight at 7 o'clock.
You betcha.
Hey, John.
Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, John. Hello. Kind of getting a view of everybody.
Yeah, good.
Are you from locally here?
Utah.
Utah. You're from Cedar City. Okay, I got two cousins that live there.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Awesome. Who are they?
I stopped and seen them on the way. Jennifer Martinez. Yes. So I'm going to stop back over there on the way back and see them on my way home.
Oh, awesome.
So yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they live right there in town.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your service. You've done such a wonderful job.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming. It's awesome to see everybody.
Try the checkout for you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to.
Okay, thanks. We thought it was going to be longer too. So court is over with down here today, guys. I won't bore you any longer, but hopefully we had a good update. Again, if anybody's trying to message me, it's hard for me to go through all of these messages very easy, but private message me. I'll try to answer you back. And let's turn the camera back around again. I'll try to answer you back as quick as I can. Just be patient with me. I try to get everybody answered back. Again, down here, if you're just joining us, this case with Cliven Bundy, Ammon Bundy, Ryan Bundy, and Ryan Payne has been dismissed with prejudice. That means it's over with. We don't have to go back to court for these guys at all. The indictment against them has been dropped and it's over. So thanks again for everybody for the support, everything you've helped with. It has been awesome. The people that have showed up again, we couldn't have done it without any of you. We're not done. I have more live streams coming up in the future for other cases. If we're back here again for some reason for another case for Dave Bundy or Mel Bundy, but we're praying that doesn't happen. We'll hopefully know real soon. Andrew Parker is even here. Yes, there's a lot of people here. So, but we'll be back after a while. Please come back and check with us. We're gonna have a live stream when Cliven Bundy's released a little bit later today. It's been almost 2 years since he's been locked up as an innocent man, and today he walked out of here. Again, thanks a lot, everyone. God bless, and we'll see you in just a little bit.